What's up, everyone? Today's video is all about even professional players making wrong shots. And I really want you to, if there's one thing that you take away from this, I really want you to take away the fact that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to hit the wrong shot. We all do it. The higher you get in level, the less often it occurs. But other than that, everyone hits the wrong shot. And today I'm going to look at one clip, and I'm going to try to keep this video shorter. It's a good test for me. I'm sharing one clip from the 2021 Manchester Open semi-final match between Marwan El-Shorbagy and Diego Elias. For those of you who haven't watched it, Diego played a phenomenal match. If you want me to do a breakdown of that match, let me know in the comment section. I will be happy to do it. So let's talk first about what causes us to hit the wrong shot. And without going into excessive detail, there are internal factors and then there are external factors. And I'm saying internal versus external pressure. So the internal pressure is that internal dialogue that we all have within ourselves, or the expectations that we set for ourselves, often being unrealistic. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience when I say this, because I always expected myself to beat guys that were honestly a level ahead of me, or who had been playing for longer than me, or who had more tournament experience. I expected myself to perform as well in tournaments as I did in my best days in practice. Those were unrealistic expectations. I expected myself to hit nicks and winners and all of that kind of stuff all the time. Unrealistic expectations. The thing that happens with that is that when you have too many of those unrealistic expectations and your mindset becomes negative, it leads to this negative loop or this negative cascade effect where then everything starts falling apart. And I can talk more about that in a minute if you want. The second part of it is external pressure. So the external pressure comes from the pressure that our opponent is putting on us. So they might be playing phenomenally well. They might be picking up every shot that you hit. By doing that, it puts this pressure on us to say, oh my God, I have to do something fancy. I have to do something magical. I need to play out of my skin in order to just win a point. And that external pressure often causes us to hit the wrong shot by trying to do too much, by trying to attack when we should defend, by trying to basically pull a rabbit out of our hats. And more often than not, that fails. And again, by doing that, it leads to this negative loop or this negative effect. And the negative loop is basically that if it's internal pressure, we become harder and harder on ourselves. We become frustrated, we become angry, and then we get out of the moment and we start focusing on just outcome, and our emotions are controlling us, and we lose track of our game plan, and we're unable to stay grounded in what we actually need to do, which is focus on the process. Based on all the external pressure, then we start getting frustrated, and the same outcome occurs, but we get frustrated maybe with our opponent. We start arguing with the referees. We start getting annoyed when there's a funny bounce in the court, or all the smallest little things start triggering us. Okay, so let's jump into one clip from the match between Marwan and Diego. So here we have the guys jockeying for position as always. Marwan's down to love. Diego is playing very controlled, positive, solid squash, controlling the pace. Marwan did try to step up the pace and attack, but it wasn't good enough. Now in this rally, Marwan's on the attack. Diego is defending. Diego's doing a lot of work. And right there, look at that kind of loose ball, and then Diego is able to counter-attack that. And there's the squeeze, and there's the ball. The ball goes out. So let me just show you that one part again, because that's a critical part that I want to highlight. So Marwan has Diego under a lot of pressure. Diego plays the back wall lob, and Marwan holds, and he doesn't know what shot to hit. Now, the effect that it has was actually correct initially. So he plays the hold. The ball is going to the right side, as you can see. And Diego's momentum is still going left. But here Marwan is like, okay, Diego's picked up 4 or 5 shots in this rally. I have to do something special. I have to put this amazing hold in so that I can win the point outright. And then he was indecisive between the straight drive, the cross-court drive, maybe even a straight drop. There were too many options. And because he had all these options, he ended up hitting this middle of the court shot. So right idea by putting the hold in, and the hold was effective because Diego's momentum is going left, but the shot quality was so poor that Diego could actually come and counterattack him and almost squeeze Marwan there. And then he puts in the tight drop and squeezes Marwan there, and that's where the ball touches out. And even Marwan knows it, and he's just like, what the heck do I have to do? Like, what am I doing? And truthfully, Marwan didn't have the best day. He didn't play his best squash, but Diego really controlled the game quite well. Okay, so let's go to some ways to minimize our chances of hitting the wrong shot. It all comes down to this thing up here, the brain. First thing I'm going to say, though, is if you can start to be kinder with yourself, if you can get into this frame of non-judgment, that will be phenomenal. Because the truth is, you will hit the wrong shot. I hit the wrong shot. Marwan hits the wrong shot. Everyone hits the wrong shot at some point. It's a matter of how often you do it. But by being self-critical, by being negative and bad-mouthing yourself, all that's going to do is make things worse. Instead, if you could say, okay, hold on. I hit the wrong shot. Here's why I hit the wrong shot. Let me simplify things, and that's point number 5. So if you shift your philosophy to a philosophy of simplification, maybe, you might just say, every time I have this loose ball in this opening, I'm going to play a straight drop because that's the right shot. And then maybe once you've played that several times and your opponent's starting to pick it up, then you can think about adding a cross-court. It doesn't even have to be with the hold. It could be a cross-court drive, it could be a straight drive, it could be a cross-court lob, whatever you want. You're creating a pattern, then you're breaking the pattern, but you're simplifying things. Now, obviously, depending on your level, you might make it a little bit more complicated. If you're a beginner, you might have to simplify it even more. But really, really try to be kind to yourself and use every mistake as a learning opportunity, okay? The second way to minimize this is focused on staying in the present moment. And we've talked about this before. It's about mindfulness. It's about having that anchor. You can even use affirmations, which is point number 3, to help you stay focused on the process versus the outcome. So now it's a lot of stuff here, but the key is that by creating some kind of anchor, by practicing mindfulness, and the traditional way of practicing mindfulness is by focusing on your breath, because what that does is it gives you a tangible source of focus, a place to direct your attention, so that all of the mental chatter and the rumination dissipates and you have that anchor that you can focus on. David Palmer, for example, and I've mentioned this before, used to reach down and pull on the tongue of his shoe because that was his way of anchoring himself back and stopping the spinning mind. Then once you've anchored yourself and you're back in the present moment, the key is to focus on the process and to shift our thoughts away from the outcome, because the process is all present moment thinking. The process would be something like hit through the ball and push up on the tee. Once you're doing that effectively, the process could be push up on the tee and hunt the volley. The process could be attack when in front, could be hit low and hard and deep, or hit deep and wide, whatever it might be. A couple of words, and this is linking back to the affirmations piece, a couple of words to really keep you focused on what you need to do. And there's a whole way of doing this. You got to plan this in advance based on your game plan, against who you're playing, maybe based on your own strengths. In training, it'll be different from tournaments, etc., etc. So that's the sort of stuff that I would coach you on in sort of one-on-one training, if that's something you're interested in. And if you are, please reach out to me at ahad@arperformance.com. I've been mentoring a lot of you guys, and it's been a lot of fun. So reach out if that's of interest. But over here, if you want to just do it yourself, you can focus on first creating an anchor, practicing mindfulness throughout your life, because you can't just expect it to be automatic in a match, especially. There's a process behind how you do it. Think about affirmations based on some of the factors I just talked about. And then in order to figure out what some of these things are, we go to point number 4, which is creating this self-analysis. So think about what it is that you do, when you do it, why you do it, how you do it, what's working, what isn't working. It's kind of like in business, they do a SWOT analysis or a needs analysis. That's the sort of thing you want to do based on your own match. And again, that's a service I offer. So if you're interested, reach out. And then from there, you can create an effective plan around how to strengthen this thing up here so that you minimize your chances of hitting the wrong shot and you maximize your opportunity to play out effective tactics, and you maximize your opportunity to improve your learning when you're actually training. So this is very holistic, and truthfully, you can apply this strategy that we're talking about to all aspects of your life, and you will have amazing, tangible, beneficial results. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. As always, if you like the video, give it the thumbs up. Let's engage in some kind of positive, growth-oriented discussion. So leave a comment if you have any questions or you want to share something that really resonated with you. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Share it with any other squash enthusiasts. And as always, give me feedback, right? Like if you're enjoying this stuff, let me know. If you want to see more videos, sort of like the one that I put up with my former student, George Crown, let me know. I'm happy to put up the content that you find most valuable. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. I'm going to start creating some videos on the British Open pretty soon as well, so stay tuned for those. Take care.